One.
Welcome to the Grandmaster Level Show. Today on the show, we're going to be giving away a Master 6 Bloom. And we have Bubble Man, Spartan Grown, Flora Farm, and Charlene Paul on the show today. We don't really have anything planned, so it's open mic. I'll start with Bubble Man. How was your week?
My week was pretty good, keeping it busy, got a tiny couple of tiny little plants in the tent finally. So it's like I haven't fixed or finished the tent. So I'm kind of like jerry rigging, but they're looking pretty happy under my Borg. I'm not gonna lie, even though the Borg is like 90% turned down and most of the channels are turned off and everything's like down to 20%, it's still they're just like happy and standing up and loving it. So
I actually noticed you had your all the channels off except for the cool white turned down to 50%, but then on the main channel, it turned down to 25%. So yeah, you have it on less than 25% power on
yeah,
the one channel.
yeah.
That's so yeah, that's kind of exciting. Well, I'm hoping that this week we get the infrastructure for everything else set up. That'll be exciting. Um, Flora Farm, how was your week?
It was good. Yeah, I missed the show last week up in Seattle for a Kraken game. I was pretty impressed with the facilities they had there. The only other hockey I had seen was in Boston at the Bruins Stadium, which is like 100 years old. And then to go into like a state of the art facility and the pregame, they had like HD movie projectors basically projecting down on the ice for the doing the player announcements and stuff. I was very impressed. So
That's
good
cool.
week. Got the garden reset. I've actually got pallet rack installed. So I got a split level grow in my flower room for this next run. I'm going to do a lot of pheno hunting. So pretty stoked. I got like 150 seeds in the soil to get started sifting through for this next run, and a lot of fun stuff coming up. So very excited.
Wow. And Spartan Grown, how about your?
Oh, I had an awesome week, man. Well, there's some trying of patience. I tell you what, and I don't have to tell you, you already know about commercial real estate in at least Michigan. What the hell is going on, man? But that is a bit frustrating to deal with. People who make thousands of dollars, you think they would, return calls, return emails.
It's
But other than that, man, we did get some progress on some of the stuff. We got to see some properties. And I don't know. I think just us talking, we kind of have a target on something. So that's exciting to just think and plan and get
well,
things moving.
yeah, well, after talking to the realtor more, I'm really feeling that it's a buyer's market right now. And like it's hard to even sell. It's hard to get an offer that's subject free or that's like solid or subject to
Yeah,
like a building
financing falls a
inspection.
lot. Things that go off the market, I know, it's come right back with a lower price because somebody makes an offer, but then they don't come through with finance, or the financing falls through or whatever, and so then you see it come through $10,000 cheaper, and you're like, what happened?
Well, I think it's going to really work out in our favor for it's really nice because we're looking for a place and it's like people need to sell and nobody's buying in the area. So it's can't complain there.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. And there's
All
some
right.
good deals out there. You just got to keep on it and find them when they
Yeah, you
come.
just have to keep on going and be ready to pull the trigger and be able to write a clean offer is always what if it's subject to like just an inspection and not to financing with a non-refundable deposit, I usually find those go pretty far. They're pretty appealing for people. Charlene, how was your week?
Hi, it's good. I've just been finishing up end of the year stuff at my day job. Um, it's cold outside, so all the crazy people are out and about. So I dealt with cops all week long. It seems like and like homeless, but getting ready as far as growing goes to reset both of the tents. We have autos that are finishing up. I think we're gonna go in photos this time in one tent, autos in the other tent. So planning that out. Still working on the back room, trying to get another tent set up in there. So yeah, just same old, same old. Paired with a new
Nice.
genetics company, so I'm gonna try some new genetics out this round. Excited for that.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Um, so this week I cut down on Sunday and stop making us jealous, man. None of us have any. uh,
What? First of all, that's a crime if none of you have any. What the hell? You sell the best lights on the market. You don't have the best resin on the market.
Not yet, but we're
That
gonna
made
be
me
making some
sad.
soon, really soon
Fuck
here.
you up, bro.
I'm learning how to make resin. So I'm learning how to yeah, I'm really excited to try the Death Bubba. Speaking of that, yeah, we're gonna
make
be
that
trying.
together.
Yeah, we're gonna have 3 different batches to just kind of see, like, is there a different yield between the different spectrums? Really, just excited to get some 6-star. Well, hopefully it turns out 6-star. Yeah, I'm pretty
That'd be
excited
nice.
about
The
that.
plants
magic-
look beautiful. I certainly think that they could produce it.
Yeah, well, when we were cutting it down, it was insane. Like, some of the plants, you get the occasional plant that's almost buried by the other plants, but like some of the plants were so heavy. For 16 plants of light, it did really, really well. Like, some of the plants got way heavier than like my last crop, but I can't say for every single plant because some almost got smothered out. But I'm really excited to getting on to the next crop. I'm gonna get rid of my tables and switch them for black tables. I don't like that I had to use glue. Like, I had to glue them together, and I noticed if I add like a bleach solution, it's almost like has a reaction to where the glue is. So it's like I get out of there right away and turn on an intake outtake. I just don't like the idea of starting some sort of reaction from chlorine because I know it can be very bad to inhale. So I'm gonna just have 3 regular tables that aren't glued together. And yeah, I'm super, super pumped to get this next one going. I'm definitely gonna be doing a quick veg. I was looking at my crop and like looking at so many people's crops, and then you see these huge legs. So many crops, you see 2 feet of naked legs where they clean out all the bottoms. Where if I would have flipped sooner, like, my whole life of growing, we never had that. Like, we never had naked legs like that, like where we clean out the bottoms, but you flip them when we would only, veg 2 to 7 days, like back in the day. And it's like, you just never have 2 feet of wasted space. It's like wasting veg. And it's just if you have ceiling height or limitations too. Yeah, so
Dude, I'm impressed with your Gandalf pipe.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's a nice little glass pipe. What I liked about it is it's all one piece blown, even the bowl and everything. It's all one.
I got the
One piece
Puffco
of glass.
version.
Yeah, I'm jealous of yours. I'm jealous of your pipe. I've been eyeballing that thing myself.
I don't use it very often, but you pulling yours out has made me totally want to hit some rips, kind of, all debonair.
Yeah, man. It makes you feel fancy as shit. Put your pinky out. It's even better.
So funny. Oh yeah, you got
Have your fucking pinky out.
There you go.
that thing
There you go.
vibrates. That thing vibrates when it's ready to pull too, the same way. The pipe version?
the one that I have.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just the Puffco proxy, so you can put it in any pipe, right? It goes. It comes in this one, this little guy. But they did send me this Gandalf version recently, and I haven't really hit it. But when I saw Spartan hitting that thing, I was like, "Fuck, that's awesome, dude. That's so good."
That is. Yeah, that Puffco thing. How much do they go for, by the way? Just curious. Like, what do they sell for?
I have no idea. They have laced me up, dude, so hard, and I think expensive.
It's
I
like a
think
couple
everything's
$100, like $300, $400.
For just for the proxy?
I don't know about the proxy, but the whole little.
Because these ones are more, I think. These ones are like $500 or $600.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I think I saw one on sale the other day for like $449 or something like that.
Okay.
What kind of battery? Like, what is it? Is it a plug-in, or did you charge it when? Like, how is that?
Yeah,
work?
you just charge it right in the back here. They all
Okay.
charge basically the same way. This one's got the same plug. They've got these things take the same plug.
I just
Sabers.
I was cleaning out some things and I happened to see 2 D nails sitting in my drawer. I paid $1,000 each for these things, and yeah, I'm thinking that is just so much nicer.
Well, that D nail that you have will be very good to work in conjunction with the new heater that he's releasing here right away. So it'll plug the new heater that he has will plug into the D nails that you already have, and you can use them. Yeah, you'll be able to use them, dude. These things are so fucking cool. Did we not show them last time we did a show?
I think we did, but I still think
Yeah,
that's
they
cool
are
that's
fucking
backward
I wasn't sure
compatible.
if we showed
basically.
that privately or not, the new thing that was coming out or not.
I can't remember. Let me
Let's show
look.
it
I
anyway.
don't see-
That way we know for sure.
Yeah, I can like look in my recently deleted shots because it's not on my actual shots anymore, and I'm sure it's probably in here somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is.
I want to I want to shout out Flower Child in chat. I want to shout out to it's happy birthday to her hubby Brian,
Yeah, yeah, Grand out there. It's his birthday today.
aka yeah, Grand is the screen name. Shout out to you,
Okay, well,
Grand.
Happy
Happy
so
birthday, man.
He's there
Oh, can you-
every week. He's here.
can you hook me up with screen sharing?
Yeah, hold on a second.
And this ties into first
There
wishing
you go.
Brian a happy birthday. So we'll start with happy birthday to you, my friend. Hash made by
Wow.
me.
Oh my God, that's a happy birthday. That's a hashy birthday for sure, right
That's
there.
a happy birthday. So we'll start with that, and then we'll move on to showing that crazy tool that will. It's a universal heater basically, and this thing is. I mean, it's fucking cool, man. I gotta say, like, I am stoked on this thing. Let me see if this is the one that has the actual wording. Yes, okay, perfect. Screen share. So this is just this is not induction, by the way. It's just the heat is, it's a heat source from the center. And this is the universal heater from D-Nail. So it's screwed right to the rise. So the little thing that you turn the button on to make it go up will allow you to use different length pipes and different height pipes depending on the banger.
I so
It's
love
very
this.
wide. You just crank it up to the top. It takes about 60 to 90 seconds. You can see the D-nail that it's plugged into there, Thomas. So you'll be able to get this unit and drive it with your D-nail body.
That's awesome. So I actually have 3 of them, and the first
That
one
is
I
so
bought,
sick.
I didn't get the life warranty for whatever reason. Like they're the same price, but the one I selected didn't come with a life warranty, and it started screwing up. So yeah, I have 2 other ones though, but the power supply still works. It's just a little messed up. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Might need you to speak to the people at Puff. Do you say they're called Puffco? Might need to get.
Puffco is the company that sells these guys, and I can definitely hook you up with them. But Brian from D-Nail, I'm the Canadian rep for that product. So anyone that's buying that product in Canada will be buying it through me. I should
Okay.
shout out Dan as well, the Banger Dryer. He sent me one of these the other day, and I gotta say it's pretty fucking cool. It plugs in through a USB. He prints them in his 3D printer. Just looks like a kind of a garbage can, but it basically holds 2 bangers, and it's got a little fan, and the fan just blows up into the bangers and it dries it out from the alcohol dunks that you do. And I gotta say, it is pretty slick, the little banger dryer. So you can check, he's up on Instagram if you want to hit him up at Banger Dryer. Kind of a cool
That's
little
sick.
product, certainly not expensive.
That is, I like seeing that type of innovation, man. I like seeing people push the limits there because
Yeah, I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put like 5 or 6, 7 different bangers in it. They dried beautifully. Quite a cool little. Just I love people's novelties and coming up with new things and innovations. And I mean, look, the industry is ripe with copy. I've been guilty of
Yeah.
it myself. We copy things, but we make them better. You know, people are like, oh, you straight up copied Mila. You copied her when you made your bags. And I was like feeling all guilty and bad, even though her bags were like 2 bags and mine ended up being 8 bags. You know, when you follow the story back sometimes, I ended up finding that she didn't create those bags in the first place. There was a guy by the name of Eldon who was sitting on her couch with another guy by the name of Mark, and they were watching her give a presentation on the ice cold extractor, which was a water hash unit made by Reinhard Delp, the Swiss guy. And he brought it to Mila in 97, signed a contract with her. And literally the first people she showed this thing to were like 2 5-gallon bags, with a screen bottom and a 5-gallon bucket, and you got the same thing. And boom, isolator bags were born literally that day from that machine. My bags came a little bit longer, but it's okay to come to use to stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. It's okay to use concepts and ideas that have already existed. I mean, because you can change it, you can make it better. You know, it's like literally what you've done with these lights, man. You've taken these lights and you're just like, I'm just going to make them as good as I can possibly make them. Well, good job. That's kind of
Yeah.
what the customer is looking for. They don't really give a fuck who invented, who came out with it first. That means literally nothing to the customer. What they care about is getting the best deal and getting the best product.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's you see something and you go off that and you get a better idea of doing the same thing and making it better. And some
That's
people will
it.
kind of, people will criticize you for it, but at the same time, it's how you push the boundaries, and ideas come from other people's ideas, and you need sometimes something to go off.
Well, what? You're just so one guy invented the guitar and now no one else can invent a better or different guitar. We just have to have the one guitar for the rest of our lives, and you're not allowed to. No one, no, he made it. That guy made it. It's like, who fucking cares?
It's a good point. It's true.
I want all the novelty and the invention and the uniqueness that comes from the different people. And bubble bags have been copied more than any bag company, like ever, for sure. If you look at the rainbow colors, if you look at the numbers that I came out with, that I have at least 50 plus copycats. No problem.
Well, let's just take the biggest two, and then pass the information over to our trademark lawyer, and go after them, man. Because you let them make their money, and it's time to collect, man.
I
Everybody,
feel ya. I was on the other side of that, right? Like I was the one breaching Reinhardt's patent because I didn't know the history. I just knew Mila saying that I stole the idea from her when she didn't even come up with it herself. It actually came from this Reinhardt guy. I had to go to court for years to figure this out. And when I finally did, I absolutely paid Reinhard Delp 6 figures for when I learned the true history and where the bags actually came from. I was like, you deserve some of the profit I've made for sure. And so I paid out a 6 figure. I'm not against doing what's right. Sometimes I just need a little, in this instance, I didn't know the true history. I knew what Mila would say. I knew kind of like this. But when I finally started hiring investigators and lawyers to look into the previously published art and to find out an accurate timeline of how this process came to be, I realized I was at fault, and I was at fault to this man. And it felt very good to pay him that money and just be done with it and be like, all right, like I'm clean. Me and a couple other bag companies, we paid. Mila, she never paid.
crazy. So, yeah, so he had it protected everywhere. Then I guess it's kind of.
Yeah, well, he was Swiss, so I don't know if you know any Swiss people, but if you do, you'll understand what I'm saying. They're extremely efficient people, and they don't leave much laying around on the table afterwards.
Yeah, I can see that.
Switzerland. I mean, think of this. Germany got in so much trouble after World War II. Where do you think all that gold and treasure went that was stolen from all those people?
Yeah.
It went to Switzerland.
Fortunately, history is written by the victors too. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of times that happens in business even more so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can own my part in what I did, and it felt great to. I mean, it didn't feel great. It hurt like a motherfucker to pay those lawyers all that money for years and fight the lawsuit, and then to finally start talking to him direct and getting the lawyers out of the way. Because here's the other thing, Thomas. Once you get the lawyers involved, they will feed your ego about how much you have to fight these people that have done you wrong and taken from you. And in the meantime, what they'll be doing is they'll be taking way more than that person ever took from you for the lawsuit. So in the end of a patent lawsuit, I'll tell you, the people who make the most money,
It's,
unfortunately, are the litigators.
yeah,
is so
I've
stupid.
been kind of learning that in the last
Oh, I
in the
can
last
share.
half year about
Dude, I
being
can share
bled
a
by
lot with you,
lawyers.
brother. I can share a
Yeah.
lot with you because what you really listen, you need lawyers. We need the lawyers, but I'm telling you, not as much as they want us to think we do. And there's a reason for all of these crazy lawyer jokes like, hey, what do you call all the lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start.
Good start. Yeah.
Like that, those are the lawyer jokes, right? I have great lawyer friends that I absolutely have appreciation for, and in business they play an integral role. But they often, like for instance, Canada legalization, legal cannabis company. You want to know who owns the majority of the legal cannabis companies across Canada? The lawyers who set those companies up. They are the ones that got massive share packages. They are the ones that own a chunk of each of the companies, and some of them worked on 50 to 100 different companies that they own a piece in just in Canada. So I appreciate the lawyers, and at the same time, Fuck the
Yeah,
lawyers.
that's how I actually kind of feel with actually a couple of our lawyers. Just like, well, just even doing trademarks, we have so many trademarks, and then them being like, oh, well, I actually think that you should, extra protect it by this when it's not needed. You know what I mean? Like even the tarantula Borg would have been fine with just our tarantula. Like we didn't need to trademark the tarantula Borg with it, but we
Right.
did. And it's like we did that enough times to where we don't need to do that anymore.
We have to think of it as like a salesman selling you accessories. It's like you bought the suit, he got the big sale, but now he's like he wants to sell you the belt and the tie and the socks and the this and the that. And that's what lawyers are amazing at doing. And their accessories cost like $18,000, $12,000. Like
Oh,
their accessories are massive.
Oh, we were actually getting bled doing anything out in Canada using our Canadian lawyer, and then we found another service for all like international trademarks. And it's like, oh, it's only 60% cheaper, 70% cheaper because we're not going through our Canadian lawyer that's taking a fee for doing it. Yeah. Yeah, they will bleed you, man. Same with the patent attorneys. Holy smokes. 475 an hour. That's just talking to you on the phone.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember when John Conroy was my lawyer back in the 90s for this cannabis case that I caught, and he lived like way the fuck out, like like close to Hope or something. And I'm just like, so you're driving into work for like a couple of hours every day? And he's like, well, really four, because I got to come back as well. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing for 4 hours? He's like, and this was, keep in mind, 25 to 30 years ago. He's like, I'm billing $255 an hour and talking on the phone for all 4 hours. I was just like, oh my God, you're like a G into your day just
That's
from
awesome.
it was so awesome, man. It was inspirational. I was like, whoa. I was talking on the phone with him at the time, paying him 250.
It's true, man. It's
Fuck,
crazy.
it's crazy. Well,
It's
good for
kind of like
him
the
if he can
thing
do
goes
that.
back and back in the United States. There's like a lesson when there was a gold rush to California that the people who made the most money were the people that supplied the gold rushers. The people selling the picks and shovels were the
Picks
ones
and
that made all the
shovels,
money.
yeah.
So that we
I
hear that a
learned that.
lot
That's
here.
why I sold bubble bags. That's why I sold
Yeah,
bubble
yeah,
bags, literally from
exactly.
that very. I watched John take money from me in a paper bag, which if I got pulled over from it, it would be considered proceeds of crime. He would take that same paper bag to the bank and he would put the money in the bank. And now it was completely legal, taxable income. And I was like, whoa, bro, I have got to figure this out. You're monetizing the cannabis industry, but you're not growing weed, selling weed, touching weed, but you're still making that cannabis money. And
Yeah, the
that was
ancillary
my
business.
concept and idea when I came up with the bubble bag idea. I was like, I got to do something where I can like monetize the industry. I can still be involved, but I don't have to put myself at risk by breaking any laws. And that was definitely a
Super
big
smart,
chunk
man.
behind starting the bubble. Well, I mean, I learned from, but once again, standing on the shoulders of giants, kind of copying the guy, right? But not like copying him like the classic piece of shit way, which is like, I'll become a lawyer, I'll steal all his techniques, I'll rob him of his clients, and I'll take his place. It's like, no, 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 just become your own thing.
Yeah.
Be inspired by people, take things from people that you
Well,
make your own, but don't use it to go against the very person you got it from.
yeah. Well, I like that you took and you improved it too. That's different. Like
Right away.
usually a copy is a cheap copy. And usually
It's
it's a
true.
cheaper product and it's
Yeah.
less, less in
Mine never
quality, not
was.
better in quality. I
No.
I think I would encourage anyone to copy anything and improve things. But if
Yeah.
you're going the other way, that's I think when it's negative.
You could buy her bags for $80. Mine almost right away were like 200 to 300. Right away, I added a third bag because I thought there's hash getting through this bag. And so I added that third bag, which to this day is one of the ways I make a ton of money on my consulting because I always want to prove who I consult for when I'm helping build their solventless lab or picking out equipment or whatever it is. The whole purpose of my consulting is to save my client 5 to 10 times more than they pay me. And I did one recently with a guy in California. And he's like, we know what we're doing. We're big hash makers, this, that, and the other thing. And he ended up saying that I said, well, just tell me a little bit about what you're doing. Right off the bat, he says, well, we don't use the 25 micron bag, which plenty of people don't because they're hard to pull and people think the hash is no good from them and on and on it goes. Well, I told him right off the bat, I said, listen, you need to put that 25 micron bag back in there. Okay. Like it's important. It's not, and I'll show you, this is some 25 micron I just made the other day, 71.5% THC. And the company
Oh
that we
yeah,
made it
dude.
for, it's all self-pressed. They did not want us to use the 25 micron bag because they wanted to put the hash into pre-rolled joints. So they wanted like 160 to 45. They didn't want the 25. So I got it tested. It's like 71.5. I ended up getting like a kilo or two for free because this company in their contract
Oh my
specifically
God.
didn't want it. So I'm telling this guy, look, I don't care if you don't want it for your best product. You keep the amount of hash he's making in Cali. If he puts his 25 micron bags in, he's going to be getting a free kilo of hash every week.
Oh
And
my
that
God.
hash, dude, at $5 a gram, I just made him like, 2 times more, 3 times more than he's paying me as a consultant for the month.
That he was what, throwing away before?
Exactly. All because he got it in his mind that it's first of all, I had to show them as well the process of if anyone's ever lifted a 25 micron bag, it can break your back when it's 32 gallons. It's like 180 pounds of water. But if you just leave the bag in the water and you don't pull it up to tense and you just go like this with no pressure that you're pulling up at all, just literally doing this, the bottom screen will go like this. The hash will move back and forth in the water, and the water will go through the screen and end up on the outside of the bag. And now, after about 5 to 10 seconds of doing that, you can pull the bag and it'll have about 3 gallons of water in it, like a reasonable amount, 20 pounds that you can kind of squeeze and brush out. But it's about learning that technique and that SOP to make it easier, to not listening to your laborers who are like, oh, it's too hard, man. It's like, no, you just don't know the right technique. And just because something's hard, I don't need to be losing 20 grand a month because you're too afraid to do something that's hard. So I just kind of fix both those things, take the hard out of it and, show people that running your 25 micron bag it's smart. And not running
Oh
it
yeah.
is absolutely batshit crazy, especially if you're making 100 kilos of hash every 6 months. I mean, that could be 5 to 10 kilos of just 25 micron.
That's amazing. I can't, yeah, I love that. That's like for me when I first learned making RSO out of some trim. It's like you can make RSO out of that. You can make this powerful medicine out of trim. What are you talking
Shrink
about?
tumors out of your grandma's body. It's like, what?
Yeah,
It's like, so this
exactly.
was a crime against humanity. Like legitimately, the people who made this illegal for however long they made it were performing crimes against humanity while they were doing it. Especially if they've got patents for this shit. You can't have patents for it saying
Yeah,
that it does this and that, and then also be like, got to keep people from having access to this.
because
Just
there's no medical.
letting
Yeah.
countless people suffer, and probably I can't imagine the amount of life that was robbed of people while cannabis was illegal, and it wasn't just readily available. I'll tell you, 25 years ago as activists, when the Compassion Club started, I was one of their first growers here in BC. We didn't know cannabis could shrink tumors. We thought, oh, you give it to them after they get the chemo. That's the actual thing that was killing them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they were so nauseous from chemo and radiation. So we just believed, well, we knew that it could stop tremors, that it could reduce ocular pressure in glaucoma patients, that it could, Parkinson's and some of these other things were visibly noticeable things, but nobody fucking knew that you could eat oil and shrink tumors out of your body. That shit was like,
Absolutely.
and then people are like, well, you can't say that. I did a conference, not a conference. I guess it was a conference. It was called Rethink Breast Cancer. And my friend Allison Gordon and her friend MJ Dakota, they created this Rethink Breast Cancer for younger women that were getting breast cancer, because the way breast cancer was looked at, it was really looked at from the perspective of an elderly woman. And you had women who were just getting married, just starting families, just graduating from university, all of these things, and getting breast cancer. So Allison and MJ created this sort of young, new, sort of hipper way of looking at it, coming to it from their perspective instead of the perspective of an elderly woman. And I got to speak as the cannabis person at this event, and it was all doctors other than me. And of course, this woman stands up. Every single person in the audience is clearly a woman with breast cancer, and like with the no hair and the rag thing over their heads, and just looking very emaciated and sick. And it was very, very sad and hard to bear witness to when the woman just stood up. All they want is hope. That's what they're asking for. They're basically saying, can you just give me hope? And she stands up and she says, well, I've heard, whispers that THC can kill cancer cells. Is that true? Well, fuck, you should have seen every one of these doctors right away clinching their license and protecting themselves. Well, we can't really say that. And so I just snatched the mic out of this doctor's hand and I was like, listen, these women went to school for 8 to 10 years to become doctors. They are now in a situation where if they say the wrong thing, they will have this license taken away. So they have to protect that at all costs. I, on the other hand, don't give a fuck, don't have a license, and I can tell you unequivocally that cancer can be shrunk and killed by THC. It's called apoptosis. If you want to look it up yourself, the doctor who did the experiments at the University of Madrid, her name is Dr. Maria Sanchez, and I believe her partner was Andre Guzman, the other doctor, and they proved without a shadow of a doubt that THC can cause apoptosis in cancerous cells. Does it every single time? No. But are there pathways for it to occur? 100%. Imagine that being the case and Canadian doctors on a panel unwilling and unable to tell a room full of terminally ill women that there is hope. To me, I thought it was shitty.
Yeah, it goes against kind of their, even if it was a silent oath, their oath when they take that profession, like you kind of take that profession to help people. And
dude, that's 100% the oath, to do no harm. It's the
Exactly.
Hippocratic Oath. It's literally the Hippocratic Oath. You're
Yeah,
like, you
it's
nailed
like-
it 100%.
Yeah, it's like, so how do you justify that? How do you justify siding on the side of a piece of paper over somebody's
Of the
health?
bully, because it's not just a piece of paper, it's the bully behind the piece of paper that's like, I will fucking take that piece of paper and wipe my ass with it if you don't toe the company line.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
the real.
So what it is that if like think about the doctors that have to write the recommendation for medical license in the states, in the United States, you have to have a doctor to sign off on it, and those doctors don't have a DEA license, and that's what it boils down to. And that's what you're saying is like it's the person behind it, and that is the DEA. They cannot write prescriptions if they publicly recommend cannabis as a medicinal alternative. So if they say yes, cannabis can shrink tumor cells, they cannot they can no longer write prescriptions, and they can't work at that point. So that's why you find like retired doctors, they're doing it like on the side. All the doctors that are writing recommendations are like 75, they've quit their practice. All they do is like tool around and write fucking medical recommendations because they don't have to have a DA license to worry about.
Yeah, it's insane that yeah, they totally had the pressure on COVID too. If they had any alternative methods, it's like you prescribe anything alternative, say goodbye to your license. More than just a bully, take away your livelihood if you go against what we say in any way at all. Bye.
You know what? I've always found the language behind both what lawyers do and what doctors do very curious, because what they do is they have a license to practice medicine and to practice law, which is very strange. I would never go to a mechanic and be like, who you got here that's practicing? That's the guy I want to work on my car, my motorcycle, my whatever. I'm looking for the guy who's practicing. What about we're done practicing and now like we're really good at this shit? That's I find it so strange that both lawyers and doctors have those types of licenses. A license, you know what they call it if they do a bad job? Malpractice. It is a malpractice lawsuit. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, they started coming out, or they have the nurse practitioners now, so you don't even get to see a doctor. You see a nurse practitioner. Everybody started saying, I don't want to see this practicing nurse. And years ago, I was like, well, what do you think the doctors are doing? Like they're all practicing now. So it's just, yeah, they're all practitioners.
Nurse practitioners in Canada, I wasn't even aware of this, could prescribe cannabis. I wasn't even aware that a nurse signed my license. I thought it was a doctor that I spoke to. So then when I went to renew it, I went through so much shit because it was a nurse and I didn't realize it was a nurse. I said, this doctor signed it. Like, oh my goodness, I had to fight for a really long time before I finally got my license again. I had to get a doctor to sign it too, by the way. But even after I got a doctor to sign it, they still were fighting it. And it's such a stupid thing because of the plant count or about like, if they really wanted to solve the problem, they would just give us a square footage limit and they wouldn't do the stupid plant count because like the more plants that you have, the faster you can do your veg and the faster you can do your crop. We're trying to grow medicine quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah, let's-
believe it's medicine. Like in Canada, Health Canada has said we don't believe cannabis has any medical, like we beat them in court. We like John and Kirk, we forced them into giving us this legal cannabis, both recreationally, and they still believe this or not, Thomas, they absolutely 100% unequivocally believe that you need to protect children from cannabis while they pop oxycodons and swig whiskey and smoke radioactive tobacco. They believe that you have to protect children from this. So imagine, like, that's why it's so insane. That's why you can't argue, like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. Why don't you just do this or do this? It's like because they're brain dead. They legitimately believe you have to protect the children. In Canada, all of the windows for all of the dispensaries had to be covered with blurry plastic. So you couldn't see into because they didn't want children to be able to see into the cannabis store. But you can bring them right into the liquor store, buy a 55-gallon drum of Jack Daniels and go home and kill 40 people.
And it's considered essential. Like they're shutting down people's restaurants, but the liquor store is essential still.
Well, listen, when she said that, when Bonnie Henry said why, did you hear the one time she said why liquor was essential?
I can't know what the
Oh, it was frightening, dude.
crazy.
It was profound because she said that the alcoholics of British Columbia would fill up the ICU beds and there would be no room for COVID patients. Think of how profound of a statement that is, that our fucking health
Wow.
minister came out and said that. Well, they'll fill up the ICU beds. It's like, well, then maybe you should make alcohol a little less fucking available. How about that? Or maybe you need to tax it to the point where it pays for the social fucking tear on this, the tear on the social fabric that it's bringing to all of our communities, the cost of policing, the cost of ambulance, the cost of nurses and doctors. Like, man, that's blew my mind. When she said cannabis was essential because it was a medicine, and she said alcohol was essential because alcoholics would fill the ICU beds if we stopped selling them alcohol. I was like, I'm done. This is fucking crazy.
Fire that woman, man. Oh,
I think you can actually get. I think you can get a barrel of Jack Daniels at Costco now. I think I saw.
Absolutely. I
Actual
guarantee it, dude. I would listen. And if not, you can absolutely order one from any liquor store.
Oh,
if you
for
call
sure.
them up and just be like, hey, I just need a 55-gallon drum of some JD.
JD, it's the good stuff.
Give me a couple pallets of that old Milwaukee too, why don't you? Oh, yoy.
so
All
true.
right.
Corruption
Time for
at its
another-
finest.
Yes, yes. I guess
That's one of the
what it
things that
is.
rubs me wrong. So raw is what you brought up, Marcus, about they're so worried about the kids. And like with the alcohol comparison, I can literally go to stores sometimes and see, right, here's this aisle of toys. Oh, the next aisle, alcohol. Like, what the fuck are we playing here? You know what I mean?
And that's the
Or-
most dangerous drug in the world. It's the one that kills the most people. It kills more than all the illicit and legal drugs all together. Alcohol takes out more people. It's the devastator. It's the
amazing.
one, put it this way, dude. We could not, and this is a horrible sort of story, and I apologize to the indigenous people, but like, look at what settlers tried to do to indigenous people around the world. In Canada, we killed all the buffalo, same with the US, to try and get rid of their food source. We gave them smallpox infected blankets to try and kill off their youth. We murdered their children and buried them into holes in the ground. And on and on and on and on and on the list goes. Didn't make a dent in those people. Nothing crushed those people like giving them alcohol. It was like the ultimate, like look anywhere you go, indigenous people in Australia, indigenous people in Canada, America, wherever you go, nothing has affected these people quite like alcohol. It's like it's their kryptonite. It's my kryptonite too. I stay as far away from it as humanly possible. No need to invite that into my life. I was at a party earlier where people were consuming it like just like double fisting, just down the street from my house, and I was like, I'm just gonna go home and hit some dabs.
I'm just the cannabis version of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to
Stuff will
admit,
take care of
man,
it, man.
it's not
Yeah.
fun being not drinking and being around a bunch of people that are drinking. Hey, buddy, how's it going? What are you up to? And it's like, oh, I just can't take it, man. It's tough. It's tough, man.
I was happy to come be on the show, let me tell you.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. I'm not a fan being around someone. Well, I don't drink very, very rarely. Like at the Grow Up conference was probably the first time I had a beer in over 2.5 years. So it's like,
Oh wow.
I'm not a social drinker either, ever. Like I don't ever just have a drink just for, hey, meeting up and let's taste it. Let's have a beer because I don't like the taste. And if I drink, I drink and I'm not a quitter. Like I will drink to the point of getting a pretty good buzz, but it's like, and then I'm not drinking again for another couple of years. So,
Sounds like you're a quitter to me.
not that night, not while I'm going. I don't quit.
He's a pauser. He's a pauser.
He's a pauser, a long pauser.
Yeah.
Taking a little
But
pause.
yeah, it doesn't. I sure don't enjoy the taste, though. I'll tell you that. And I don't enjoy how I feel the next day either.
That's the big part right there. Yeah. The
I
recovery.
tried herb first and foremost, and was just like, I couldn't believe my friends that were like, why are you doing that now? Like what
Yeah.
journey are you on here, my man? I was so sold on mushrooms and weed. I didn't need to like look for anything else or continue the journey of like, oh, what about this heroin? This looks pretty interesting. It's like, I don't know, man. Like it seems like everything they say about it is dangerous and bad, but let me know how it works out for you. I'll be over here smoking tabs.
The stuff that I know is fine.
You know what I'm telling you? I had a friend, he was like opium. He just loved opium. He got this opium from these Iranians in Vancouver. They had this gummy red, crazy opium. And he just smoked tiny little bits. He's just like, I just like the relaxation of it. And he did that for like a couple of years. And then one day they were like, we don't have opium anymore. Just, I guess they're done. Like we lost the connection. And he was like, oh, okay, well, no worries. Like a week later, he's just like, literally has
Oh
no
my
idea
goodness.
how bad the withdrawal he's going through. And he ended up a pretty big addict after that. He didn't know he was addicted to it. He just thought he liked it a lot. Next thing you know, they're like, just try heroin. It's the same thing, basically. It's like, yeah, not really, but okay.
That's just a whole nother hook.
Well, you know what? That guy now gives weed away. He's a amazing guy. He went through the addiction of heroin, of crack, of alcohol. Like he took them all the furthest. Like he was truly not a quitter, Thomas. Like he lived on Hastings and Main Street there for a while. And now he runs a place in Victoria and he gives away cannabis to drug addicts that are trying to get off hard drugs. And he
That's
just invites
cool.
them into his space and he's just like, let's just smoke some joints. Here's a little bit of hash. You know, just giving them a buzz and a space that they can be in is incredibly helpful. And of course, what does it take to help drug addicted homeless people? Someone who's beat being a drug addicted homeless person. That's what
Yeah. Knowing what it's like.
he's doing. He's doing the good work.
That's
What-
awesome.
What would they call it in Game of Thrones? Not Mother of the Poppy. What would they always refer it to? They call the
Oh
poppy.
yeah, something not far off from that. It wasn't Mother of the Poppy,
You know,
but
you know what I'm trying to think of what I want to say Pearl of the Poppy, but I know that's not it. Someone in chat will know.
Maybe the milk.
Milk of the Poppy. Yeah. Milk of
Yeah.
the Poppy.
It's like a milk.
How did I not say mother? Milk of the Poppy. Now I always wondered, you see people always talking about using that for pain and stuff like that back in the day. I wonder how well, what Marcus was saying, I never wondered about that. I'd always wondered what that kind of is. Not that I would ever go down the road of trying it. Probably.
it was Milk of the Poppy. Yeah,
Yeah, milk of the poppy. Seems like-
Westeros's version of morphine.
yeah.
I've had morphine at the doctor at the hospital. When I
Yeah,
had
man,
kidney stones,
I
and
just-
I'll tell you, I was sure happy to have it that time.
I
Did
just
its job.
I've had to have surgery a couple times, and I just remember waking up as high as a kite and just being so emotional I remember, why didn't I write my grandma a letter sooner? Or like start thinking about all this shit, just being completely emotional. Like it affected me. You know, it's like I just, yeah, just love everybody so much. And anything you think about, I just love when I
Man,
was,
I can't stand that drug. I can't do it. It just makes me throw up. I'm so hypersensitive to it. I
Same
hyper
thing.
metabolize it. So when it goes into my liver, I metabolize more of it faster than a normal person, and so it hits me harder. And it just even what are those Tylenol threes? I can't even do a Tylenol 3. When I
I'm the
broke my
same way.
collarbone,
Same
yeah.
way.
Do you just avoid taking pain medications then,
Yeah.
even if you're destroyed? Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Can't do it. I get so sick.
Nurse was like, "You broke your collarbone. It's very painful for like 5 weeks. You're gonna need these pills." And I'm like, "I can promise you that I will not need those pills at all. I'll just be in pain for 5 weeks.
You
It's
do
fine."
not know who I am. I'm going to be dabbing every hour.
Well, that's it. And honestly, the morphine or the
Patching
pills,
dabs on top of it, you know.
they just would have made me feel worse.
the edibles, honestly, anytime where I'm like actually in serious pain or like seriously sick and I take a big edible dose, it reduces it like a lot.
Oh, it's
Like,
magical.
yeah, like even when I remember having COVID and just being miserable, but taking at least having a big dose of edibles hit me, it made me feel instantly like 50% better, manageable now at least.
Or use
Yeah,
for
it's,
RSO too. That's another good one. Well, I guess that's like an edible.
that's
Yep.
what
That's
I
my
have to,
go-to.
I'm curious. Well, what is your opinion on this, Marcus, taking rosin versus RSO? Do you think one of them, or is RSO going to be a fuller spectrum? Because that's something I haven't experimented with, is
I
RSO.
think, I mean, listen, here's the bottom line. The original Rick Simpson oil was made with like, oh my God, dude, I don't know if it was naphtha or fucking
Naphtha.
It was
isopropanol.
naphtha.
Like,
You're right.
so naphtha has lead and rust inhibitors in them that if you don't distill the naphtha, like if you pour naphtha into a cup and look at it, it's an electric greenish blue color. And that coloring is what is called the rust inhibitor, right? And so when you distill the rust inhibitor, basically the moral of this story, without getting too detailed, is that even if you make cannabis a poisonous medicine, it is still so powerful, it can still shrink cancer out of people's bodies. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen like people make the nastiest, dirtiest oil, and it actually helped people. So at this point, I'm like, look, these things are such a part of our endocannabinoid system. They are legitimately the fuel that runs this system that keeps us in homeostasis. I couldn't know what to say. I know what I would think if my mom got a tumor somewhere. I would send her live hash rosin, and I'd be like, consume as much of this as you can, possibly orally a day, and it should take care of business. But I've seen people do it with distillate. I've seen people do it with RSO. I've seen people do it with a whole variety of things. So it's the plant is just so amazing. I mean, even listen, that lead inhibitor is a toxic waste. If you remove it from the naphtha and you like created a jar of it, say you had a business, you could not just throw that jar of rust and lead inhibitor away. It is now considered a toxic waste. It's really bad stuff. It affects the central nervous system in humans, and it's accumulative in your body. So any amount that you put in your body stays there forever until you die. So that's the kind of things in life. I mean, look, everything's going to kill us eventually, but doesn't mean I'm playing with fucking mercury every morning with my hands. Like, look at how cool
Right.
this is. I just
That,
avoid certain things, the things that
yeah, that's
never
why
leave
when I
my
make
body.
that, I call it cannabis oil because I'm using ethanol. I'm
Oh,
using
yeah.
food grade. I'm using food grade ethanol even. So
Awesome.
if I for some reason don't purge 100% of it off, at least I know it's food grade and I'm not going to be hurting anybody.
Totally. Yep. No, a lot of people made some poisonous medicine, put it out into the world, and legitimately still helped people. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I use like Everclear, and then there's like a tabletop still. You run the Everclear through and distill and recapture the Everclear, and leaves you a coffee, basically a coffee container full of the oil, and fill those up in 100 cc syringes for oral.
Yeah, and like I wonder about how like I've been told by people that if you take something suppository, it's just as effective. You get it into your blood. Like that's what my cousin right now. he can't handle he can't handle taking it the normal way, like going into his system. So he takes a suppository, and I always wonder how effective is it? Is it
Supposed
as
to be
effective?
more. Supposed to be
Has he
better than.
has he
Well, it
reported
depends
that
on
he
what
gets
it's
any
more for
effect?
your organs that are right in like that area, obviously. It's the
Mhm.
closest way to reach it. And it allows THCA to get to the organs without metabolizing into 11-hydroxy metabolite, which it does when it goes through your liver, which is a very, very, very different thing. That's the thing that is like makes you feel like you're almost on acid stoned. That 11-hydroxy metabolite is no joke. It's a very, very, very potent molecule, much stronger than THC.
Oh yeah, you take that and you don't have any tolerance, and you take too big of a dose, you can feel
Oh,
like you're on acid, and it can last as long as acid. I've
and it
proven
doesn't
that.
matter how, if you take enough, you can find that place.
Yeah, well, it had been over like 15 years since I'd had edibles, and like my tongue got so my friend put like an ounce of weed into a cookie, and my tongue got so swollen, fucking so high, like I got sick and threw up, and I was high
Oh
for
no.
12 plus hours. I think I said it this story the other night or the other week, but holy crap, man. Did I felt like I was on acid, hallucinating.
Marcus, I want to pick your brain, see if you've heard anything about this, but I saw a post on Instagram from my buddy Brandon Rust, but he was reposting somebody else, and I don't remember who it was. But they said coming up in a few months, I think they said March, they're releasing some kind of new static tech that's going to supposedly put washing out of it's going to take over what washing's doing. Have you heard anything like some? I don't know if that means like a
Well, I've
machine
been talking
static
to
tech.
Sambo Filtration. They've created a static tech machine. It's cool. It's absolutely cool. It's not going to replace water washing in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, that was a pretty grandiose claim.
It's a huge claim. It's a huge claim to know how people, I mean, people say that about everything. Like they were like, Rosin did the opposite. Rosin like popularized washing again because all those people that couldn't wash for shit could now wash for their shit and then just press it into rosin and look like they've created a fairly decent product. So that really like made people come back to washing. Like telling you, like the original days, people are like, how do I get my hash to like stick together and melt like yours? I'm like, oh, you just have to like learn how to grow better weed. It's like a 20-year journey. Or you can just blast it into a PVC pipe over here. And so people were kind of rosin was the same way. We've talked about this. They sort of took that left instead of the right. Always take the long path in this, people. If you want to learn how to get your hash to melt and stick together, it's not by doing it with bonding agents or falsehoods. It's by learning about these symbiotic relationships between mycorrhizospheres and roots, and learning about living soils and learning about plants and the biology and the genes and all of these things. I find it fascinating personally. There's tons of people sharing this information out there. It doesn't take that long, but it is generally a 20-year journey. No one stops it after like 3 years. But
I,
yeah, it's
I
coming.
I
Sample
do love
filtration.
seeing like the how how the old techniques can still hold up even in modern times. I love seeing that. I love seeing when like you
Exactly.
can show up with a 6-star hash and somebody who has like a rosin or fresh frozen. It's still a great product, but still they're running toe to toe with something that was done basically by hand.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
fucking just
It's
cool.
true. I have one of those machines coming, by the way, in January. I'm helping them sell those as well. So I'll have a firsthand. My buddy Logan's been playing around with it. It doesn't get it quite to Bubble Bags gets the resin to 99.9%, and it does it in a fairly large level. This machine will get the heads to about 80% heads with 20% contaminants. So that still will produce a melty hash, a strong hash, but probably we're going to have to do, some other, you could either press it, right? And then get rid of that 20% in a
Do like a
hurry.
post process, yeah.
Yeah, or you could do another sort of like, like the hand static tech that's actually much more effective because they've got a machine that has these two plates and then it's got a feeder hose that goes in and the resin like blows down and the charge on the plates pulls the
Oh,
heads to the plates. But the process, the way it works, and I've been trying to explain this to everyone that wants to think about how to do this. It's um, it's not just the static charge, okay? Because unfortunately, the stalks as well as the heads will charge statically.
Oh, okay.
So when we're doing the, you know, the method with your hand on the screen, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that before.
I have.
I have no
I was going to
idea.
ask you if you could take it from the machine and then put it over some screens to clean up that 20%.
Absolutely. That's what I was suggesting would have to be done. So I think I have a little video right here actually of this process for people that are kind of wondering. This wasn't the greatest material, but I'm in my lab. I'm just pouring a little bit of dry sift. I pour it into a 250 micron screen, a Field Master, 60 mesh, 250 microns. And I'm going to just turn the volume off there. So I brush the resin onto the screen so it falls fairly evenly. You don't want it really to be in clumps. You want it to fall down on the screen so it's nice and even. The clumps will cause problems. And then I do a simple process here. So the process of with the nitrile glove, first I'm going to cool my hand so the warmth doesn't melt the resin when it attaches itself. So I hold my hand down on the stainless steel table. Now what I'm doing is I'm using pressure to push the contaminant through that tight 70 micron screen while creating a static charge with the nitrile and the silk. So,
yeah.
you know, I don't have a ton of resin on my hand, but there is some. That'll be pure resin right there. But if you look at like some of the work that Logan's done, who's been helping work with that machine, and this is the thing about this process, some resin just doesn't work. And the resin I was using, it really didn't work very well. Whereas the resin that Logan was working with on this hand pass, that's golden fucking resin, dude. And that can happen every time you run your hand across the screen and do that process. What people that are inventing machines are missing is that it's not just about creating a static charge. It's also about simultaneously pressurizing and pushing the plant matter contaminant that is made out of cellulose through the smaller holes, which happens by it breaking into pieces. The heads do not break, everything else does. So they've got a great idea. If they could figure out a way to also have a process that's like, you know, pushing it through a small screen, whereas everything else, you know, the heads will stay on that screen. And if you've ever done this process and you felt the material that falls under the screen when I'm doing this process, it's like talcum powder. It's absolutely 100% cellulose. It's just talcum powder. There's no high in it whatsoever. Wow. But it's a great trick and method of separating those heads. So come January, I'll be making some videos. Maybe Thomas will come down and we'll pour. Apparently you can pour a couple of kilos of sift into the thing and get like 200 to 400 grams of pure heads or 80% heads an hour later. So if you think of the quality Logan's working, that's probably where you get the 300 to 400 grams. The quality I was working with, which is what most people have, most LPs, most companies, that might be 100 grams that you get out of a kilo or 2 kilos. So suddenly it'll be a thing where people will be like, is this worthwhile? But if you've got the good material, this machine is going to be a game changer for certain people. I also think that people that make bubble and over mix and really create a contamination in their bubble with all that systole of hair and capitate stalks, I think this machine is going to be really good at cleaning that up as well. So you can put a bubble that's maybe only at 80, 90% and get it in there. You know, you could also pass it a couple of times and probably get that 80% up to 90 or something, but I'll only know once I start playing with the machine.
Nice.
And can you explain what 6-star hash is? There was some comments in the questions in the chat.
Well, the star rating was started by a couple of friends of mine. Now I have to go to the back of my thing here and pull the thing out because both of them have passed away just last year, unfortunately. So these were the Bizarre brothers. So this was Corpy right here and Space. So Space and Corpy were these just two awesome hash making freaks from San Francisco. And they kind of had this little like vibe where their backyard of their house was kind of a hash cafe. They were bubble ambassadors. So my buddy Jeff Church, who was a glassblower I met through Marble Slinger, he would come down, put like $5,000 of bags on his mom's Visa, and then drive right down to Space and Corpy's and like flip these bags into the Cali market. This was in like 2001, right? The beginning of bubble bags. And so I ended up meeting these guys through him, and they became bubble ambassadors immediately. They loved the bags. They started creating like large 100-gallon conical shaped reactors with linear actuators to mix the material. They were taking it to a level that a lot of people weren't taking it to in the early days. And at one point, they were sitting around. Now, Skunkman Sam and I had coined the term full melt, but they wanted to take it a step further. And so all of this really was the star rating, all that it meant was it was the melt factor of the hash. They weren't, it didn't mean that it leaves nothing behind. It didn't mean all of these things that other people have attached it to since. But what it meant was the melt factor of the hash. And 6-star melts like water. You can't even believe it if you've never seen it. And the problem is, if you've never seen it, you could easily see your hash just sizzle a little bit and think that that was full melt hash. So we'll show a little video of some full melt hash here real quick. This is Sweatband from my buddy Phil. It's sitting on a sapphire disc, pure heads dropped right onto a D-nail. And if you look closely at this video, it's kind of trippy. You'll see my reflection smoking the pipe in every single bubble clear dome that is on that lid. You can see me clearly. Like,
That is
it's
so
insane.
awesome.
That's
That is
trippy, man.
wild.
So that's fucking full melt hash. For those that don't know, when your hash liquefies and boils into an oil and creates 1,000 little clear domes, that is what full melt bubble hash is. That is a full melt 6-star bubble hash. Now, the 5-star, it would melt a little bit less. The 4-star would melt a little bit less. You know, like 4-star still, a lot of people would think 4-star was 6-star if they'd never seen 6-star. 1-star was like sizzle. The hash doesn't even move. It just gets a sheen on the top. 2nd-star, maybe it's kind of moving slow like lava. The 3rd one is a little bit lava-esque. By the time you get to 4, it's kind of like a 6 and a 3 mixed. You've got some action going on in there, but you also have these slow lava chunks. And that is the star rating. It was made by Josh and Space, Josh Corpy and Space, as well as a little bit with Jeff Church. And there's articles on this online. I think I just did one with Whistler Technologies not too long ago where we spoke about the star rating, and that's what it was, and those are the people behind it.
Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome to be able to see that. That was wild
Yeah.
to see your reflection in that, dude. That was wild.
Dude, listen, you're telling me when I put that on my computer the first time and watched it and paused it and could see the bong coming right up to my mouth, I could read the thing on the Harley Davidson shirt that I was just like, this is fucking crazy. Like, it was the money shot. I was very happy when I got it. I'm not gonna lie.
That was fucking amazing.
Do you have lots of shots like that or not? Or is that just
dude,
a
are you
rare
fucking
one?
kidding me? Hundreds of thousands of shots and videos of melting hashes and
I just
clear
meant where it shows the
domes and-
reflection like that.
That was probably the best video. There's certainly others. I mean, I started taking refraction shots. You know, this was one of the first clear dome shots I ever took. That was like hash like that bubbling on a stainless steel screen. And you could just see the tension in the top of the dome. And so there were some shots that I ended up taking. I think I was at, what's his face there? Opus. Did you ever know Opus? He lived in Port Alberni for the longest time.
I recognize the name, but I don't.
He was like a pot TV guy. He was like,
I think I
pretty
do,
cool.
but I would know him by the face, but not by the name if he was a Pot TV guy, because I know everybody at Pot TV.
Yeah, well, he was one of the OG pot TV guys, like a grower. He grew the Burmese fucking incredible is what he was always well known for and growing. And so I went and took photos at his grow years ago, and I ended up getting a shot of some trichomes with his leaves like refracting in the head of the trichome. And some people got amazing shots like that. I never really looked into, you know, I've got some though, for sure.
I actually have a 6 shot of when I'm pulling apart a bud, a trichome head stays in the middle, like it looks like it's held there by spider webs, and then it explodes. It actually I gotta find it for you. It's fucking incredible.
What made it explode?
I guess just me pulling apart the bud, like the pressure of it pulling apart the bud, like, and it was attached to the string, it explodes.
It was pulled on both. It's getting pulled from both sides, like
Yeah, it's getting
like
pulled from both sides.
okay. So you basically pulled it apart.
Yeah, pulling it apart, man. When I caught it on camera and saw it, it explodes. And it's sick footage. I know I have it still. I'll be able to find it. So
That's the one with the refraction. I took this shot in Port Alberni like
so sick.
15 years, maybe
Wow,
20
yeah,
years
you can
ago.
see the leaf blades. That is crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do that either. It just happened. It was one of those things where I came home to edit the shots and was like, "Whoa, dude, are you fucking kidding me?"
It took me a minute to find it, and when I saw it, it was just like, whoa.
Yeah, I love the macro photographs, man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see those ones that you took the other day. I don't know if
Yeah, they're on my computer. I just need to edit them out and pull out the magic.
Nice, man. Yeah, I'm curious to see that. Yeah, I'm the suspense to see if the Death Bubba can make full melt, man. If I can bet
Oh,
on
I
it,
can. I've made full melt from Death Bubba. It can make full melt.
well, then I have to bet on it if I can that it's going to.
Well, yeah, you
Did
gotta
you
listen. You gotta believe, and then listen. You absolutely do. Then this is the crossroads. If it doesn't happen, then you have to choose what pathway you're going to take towards, which I know which one you're going to take. You're going to take the one where we create. I think those plants you have will produce a melty hash. I'll be honest. I think the 90 and the 73 will be like liquid butter. But
Yeah,
we'll whip it up. We'll see.
it's curious to say because if I actually could rate the crop out of 1 out of 10, I would probably give it a 6.5, but not in the end quality, but just how the whole crop went with how many mistakes and things I made. But the end,
That affects a lot, but it's
yeah,
anything that affects the look of the flower generally shouldn't affect the resin too much. And often
yeah.
stress increases resin quality instead of decreases. So it's like if the crop got all stressed out and
Or I
turned
can make it
purple
extra
stalks,
special.
it
Yeah, I
can
can
make
make
it the resin stronger. Because often when the crop gets so stressed out that it turns purple, it does think it's dying. And when it's dying, it does tend to produce
I yeah,
more resin.
I've had a couple of crazy crops like that. But yeah, this one the crop I would say about 6.5 out of 10, but the quality I'd probably give it about a 9. Like some of the like at least on one of the tables came out maybe even higher. It came out really, really nice. And I've been smoking some of it and it's got an incredible flavor.
Oh, you've
Um,
been puffing it already?
yeah, I never like it's still sticky, but it's still
He's
burnt.
not
Like
patient.
I can't resist. As soon as I can get it burning within a few days, I'm puffing it, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, forget about that. You could cut enough down to just wash a batch and make hash because you don't have to dry it to wash it.
That was my next question. Did you hang or dry it all, or are you fresh freezing this?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it's hang drying, and that's what I was actually going to talk to Marcus about. So, I know you said it's got to go right into the freezer, but what if the day I put it in the bag, I'm bringing it to you the following day?
Oh, it can be anything, dude. I've pulled it off the floor at Friends Grows and made full melt. So it's like it doesn't have to be. It's just like here's the thing. Most people don't make full melt. And so in order to get to that full melt, they just want to cut every possible corner they can. And so like microplaning the resin is a good one where you basically cheese grate the resin and shred the heads. All the oil comes to the outside. And now when you smoke that hash, that resin that was trapped in the trichome head that was probably thicker than it needed to be is now on the outside and it appears to melt more than it probably would have if you just left it as microencapsulated resin glands. So,
Yeah.
and then fresh frozen is another way, right? Preserving every single terpene that we used to just cure out of the flower because they were harsh. Now everyone wants that in their extract. So you wonder why hanging out with a bunch of extract smokers, they're just coughing like motherfuckers. You're like, dude.
Is it? What about, is it a big deal if there's stem with it or not? That's another thing. Because like I do not want to. I was thinking trimming it would be pointless. You'd just be knocking off so many trichomes.
Yeah, you just pull off some fan leaves, and then we can
Yeah.
chop them down into like
That's just
popcorn
into
size
buds.
nuts.
Yeah, just into buds, I guess, like that, and no main stem though. I guess yeah, you can't have main
Yep.
stem in bags.
What we
That's it.
do, we were just actually doing this Trichome Forge. We pulled down a room of Spartan puke, and we were just taking the food saver bags, so you can roll out a big long bag,
Yeah.
and we just take one plant and start bucking it down to bud size, take all the big fan leaves off, and then the real big buds, break those colors down a little bit, throw them all in that food saver bag, stick it in the thing. take a little bit of air out, but you're not pushing a lot. And then seal her up, throw it in the freezer. I mean, that's harvest day.
Yeah. Well, this stuff's already dry, so like my plan is the day it's done, like I'll bring it right into town and hopefully we can plan to make it right away. It's obviously making it fresh. Well, I regretted so much like waiting. I waited a while to press a bunch of stuff to make for my edibles, and it's so much nicer when it's fresh. You know what I mean? Letting it sit
Fresh
and then
press.
It's nice for
Yeah.
the washer to have it frozen, just because then it's kind of going into the water cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would
Helps it
imagine it's
get
the same
closer.
thing waiting to make bubble hash. Like if you don't put it into the freezer, it's just gonna degrade by the day, right? Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
I think the idea is to try to be cold so that it gets those trichomes brittle. That way that they break off easier and get into the water.
Yeah, I need a new press badly. Like the press I have, the wires come out on the side. So when stuff, if anything comes out on the side, like I want to be able to just have it so it can fall down. Here's another thing that I have to bring up. I think we already brought it up for like years. Like when we used to like get kilos of keef that we would be pressing to make edibles. Let's go like going back over 5 years ago. And
Edibles.
we would use a fresh piece of paper every time we pressed it. Like, how I just saw this guy like where he's just pulling the bags out and letting the rosin just pile up on each other. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like, I can't believe that it took me 5 years to see that. like, like we were going through so much paper and like how it was so annoying having to cut the paper. And it's like, man, you just need one piece of paper for a huge amount. I don't know. Like,
Yes and no. Yes and no. If you use pressure and you're trying to, and you use too much pressure, you'll blow and the amount of heat that's exposed to that same part, the parchment will.
you're talking about blowing the bag out. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about blowing the parchment out. It's very easy to do, and the parchment won't last for like 20 presses, and not unless he's using like literally the thickest parchment ever made. Because I know it's
I
hard
agree
to
with
get
you.
away with.
I agree,
too
but
many presses.
even getting away with 10 to 20, like the paper.
That's a lot. I could never get away with that many, is what I'm saying. I couldn't get away with more than 2.
I blow it out like 2, 3, 4 after 4 too.
So the paper that they sent me, I was getting away with over 10, straight up. Like I was able to without it blowing out, but I had to push the paper far enough back so it wasn't too close to the bag, or else it could.
I was using a PTFE for a while that's used in like panini sandwich machines.
Yeah.
And I was reusing that over and over and over and over and over again. I reused that I don't even know how many times, but I found that I just I don't know, it was a natural sort of just like, you know what? I think I just like parchment. But it's a cost, those reusables.
You know that one, those guys in Colorado, can you go to Instagram, Charlene, and pull it up? It's Seeds to Keys. Let me just find it. Let me find it. Because that's where I saw it, and it's like I'd never seen anybody pressing like them. Hold on. Yeah, here we go.
Seeds. Doing it unique. They must have a thick parchment. What are they pressing? Flour? Hash?
Yeah, they're pressing hash. Okay. Seeds and Keys, like SE, like Seeds and Keys, just how it's spelled. And then scroll down and you'll see like some of these rosin presses. I couldn't figure out how they had so much on it. And then I thought it was all coming out from one bag. And then I realized, no, you could see the layers from each press.
Is he in a cowboy hat?
Yes.
Okay.
So then pull that up and then scroll down till you see some of these presses where it's like so thick, like they just got so much coming out of them. And then if you can also share it on Zoom.
Yeah. All right. You got it? You see it yet?
Yeah, okay, so scroll down.
I see they're using vibratory screens. What is that, an osprey? Yep, that's an osprey.
You scroll down.
Oklahoma these guys at, or?
No, in Colorado.
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, see these presses are like, oh, go back up to where it's like a huge amount coming out. And click
all the gold rings.
I know that about you. I had that when I was 17.
He's just rocking the bling.
Yeah, see how you can see the layers of it coming out. And at first I couldn't figure. I'm like, I thought that
Couldn't
these were
make
just
sense
the
of it.
most insane bags that were so full, and then it's like, no, that you can see the different layers from each press. So, anyways, yeah, I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
In most parchment paper that I have, I 100% agree with you. It breaks so easily. The stuff that Rosin Revolution sent me out, man, or Evolution, it is the thickest paper I've ever seen in my life, and I can seriously do up to 20 presses as long as I don't make an accident pulling the bag out from the middle. You know, if it accidentally gets caught on something, then it.
Oh yeah.
But if I don't, like, I can at least do, like, safely say without even trying 10 presses. But I was doing more than 10. It was closer to 20. Yeah, I sure thought it was convenient. Like, I can remember years ago, Mandy going for days straight, hours, or we have someone just on the press, like we're going for days, just trying to, you know, press some keys of it, just to make like low grade stuff, not for smoking, for edibles.
Yeah, yeah. I've made high grade like kilos of rosin. We have two really big presses at my facility. They're 55-ton Yeti Pros, so I can press like 250 grams of bubble per press
Wow.
each time I do a press. So it's 500 grams of, like, I can make 450, 400 grams of rosin in like 6 minutes.
Oh, that's just stupid. Wow.
Are,
Yeah.
are people
I was
like,
expecting at least an hour.
No, no,
are,
we can make.
people selling much rosin on the legal market in Canada?
Yeah, it's definitely picking up. We got an Australian guy that wants 20 kilos right now. I had a lady ask me for 5 kilos the other day, 5 kilos the week before, and I'm just one person. So people are making rosin and selling it by the kilo for sure. And now there's more people coming out with the donuts, these sort of joints with the rosin in them.
Yeah, those are super popular.
Yeah, they're starting to become popular in Canada too, in the legal market. So, more people are realizing that rosin makes more sense to create edibles with than distillate because it's just more intense and more full bodied. So, rosin's gaining good popularity here in Canada.
And
Live hash rosin pens.
so when you make edibles with that, you decarb it still, yeah?
Yeah, we decarb. We have the rosin reactor. So it's a pretty interesting little tool that we use at my facility.
How does it like
And
to decarb it? That's what you're using. It's
yeah, it's for decarboxylation. I can show a little clip of it. It's basically a 35 psi glass reactor that sits in a heater, and then it connects to a brain, which connects to a computer. And I mean, it's fucking great, man. Like, it
so
is
it's
a
doing
great
it
little
like
unit.
perfectly precise and not ever going over.
Perfectly precise and not going over. So
And
let
if
me
you-
see if I can.
So if
like-
you don't have one of those, how would you decarb it?
I stick it in the oven for well, if it's a small amount, for roughly around half an hour at 240 degrees Fahrenheit. But if it's a larger amount, like say if I'm cooking a bunch, then I have to do it longer. And I was taught, and I could be way off, that when it stops bubbling, like
Okay.
that it's almost done, is when when it's barely
So
bubbling.
yeah, exactly. That's what everyone does. They all watch the bubbles, right, Charlene? What we do is we have sensors that monitor the CO2 pressure that's created when carboxylic acid rings are removed during this process of heat. We heat to about 160 to 180. It's all sealed, so none of our terpenes can kind of get away. They precipitate into liquids at the top and then reflux back into the rosin. And we have solenoids that do the burping for us, just these really quick shots of.
That's
I can
ridiculous,
monitor
dude.
I can monitor the entire thing from my phone while I'm at home. It creates a pattern, the decarb pattern, and this is the part that will surprise you. Now, we were doing 750 grams, so it took like 12 hours at those temperatures. He's sort of still showing all of the process here. It's a great video if you want to watch it. It's called Rosin Reactor on my channel, Bubbleman's World. It's got almost 10,000 views. It's been popular, but it preserves all the volatile organic compounds. And here's the problem: when it stops bubbling, there's an arch of THCA that's still left, and you have to follow that all the way through, and that can be 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. So when people are looking and they're like, oh, the bubbles have
Damn.
stopped. Okay, let's pull it. now you wonder why you're getting this just light cloudiness in your vapor pens in your carts, and that's because you've left THCA, non-decarbed resin in the pen. And when it sits for 7 to 8 days, what'll happen is it'll crystallize into a microscopic crystal. It won't conjoin to the other ones the way it would if you just didn't decarboxylate it at all, threw it all in the pen. And I'm sure some people have seen the entire pen crystallize. This just creates a foggy cart, and it's unattractive to consumers. So the rosin reactor, which my friend Corey and Andrew invented and created, is just, it is the way to decarb for a business. If
Yeah.
you're a commercial entity and you're selling products and you want to confirm your decarb is 100%, our terpenes go up when we decarb, not down, with the
Well,
rosin
I'm blown
reactor.
away
And
by it. Like it's the first time I've ever heard of it. I always thought there's got to be a professional way of doing it. Oh man, I would love when I'm making my own stuff to use that to be able to have it. Well, maximize it and not overdo it.
yep.
I was,
They sell
now
a smaller one through Pele Polar. They made one for them as well, which is, I think it's like $4,000 or something if it's a couple jars or whatever. But this is a little bit the more professional version. I could purchase additions for this unit, and it's about 20 grand US total, and I could be decarboxylating 9.8 kilos of rosin at a time.
well, I need to try it out, and if it works, I will advocate for them harder than anybody.
Oh, it works. I can promise you. You're welcome
No,
to come to the lab anytime,
I,
though.
no, I'm just I'm joking about that part. I just want, I
No,
want to be
come.
sponsored. I want to be sponsored.
Right?
With the rosin pens, here's one thing that I remember. This is before, I guess it even went legal here. I can't remember what the product they were using, but they had to put something in the pens to make it melt, and I didn't like what they were using. Like to make
Yeah,
it
people are clueless when it comes to ad. People are like, "Oh, I put MCT." I'm like, people aren't supposed to
not,
vaporize MCT, you idiot.
yeah, but it wasn't MCT. There was something else that was really,
I know your guy wasn't, but some other
yeah.
guys was, is what
Sorry,
I'm saying.
they were like pine terpenes or something. Or I can't remember what it was. It was something that had to break it, to help break it down so it would burn and stay in like a liquid. So
Mhm.
with rosin, have you developed a way to do it without having to add anything? So it's just in the
Oh
rosin?
gosh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the hardware, not the rosin, right? If your
Mhm.
pen is designed for high viscosity liquid and it has tiny little holes, well then that won't be ideal for rosin. But you know, these guys over at FTLD there, they designed a pretty good little one, the Acer, I think it's called, or Acer. And it's got a beautiful little triangular hole. I don't know if it'll actually, my camera just doesn't, there it is. So look at the size of that hole in the car, and it's all around. He's got these triangular holes. Well, the hole used to be on these carts about 1/5 that size and a circle and higher up off the bottom, which meant more oil could sit on the bottom and never get sucked into the coil. And so the technology needed to be worked on. And so this is a big, big part of it. They have low, medium, and high viscosity coils specifically designed for the oils that you're putting into them. So lining those up correctly and decarboxylating 100% correctly are two very good starts. If you can do those two things, you can create a pen that is really nice, really enjoyable. And these live hash rosin pens are going to utterly destroy the distillate pen market. If they're gonna hurt, they're gonna get hurt by it for sure.
Oh, I can imagine. I remember trying pens like 10 or 7 years ago, obviously, when people were mixing bullshit in there, and I felt like I had fluid in my lungs after smoking some of them,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, acetate, vitamin acetate E, the stuff that gave everyone popcorn lungs and literally damaged people's lungs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I remember just feeling like I literally had, I'm smoking, and this was actually CO2 oil in one of those things, and a couple of different ones I tried in the shatter with, yeah, not a fan.
Well, we designed this one in 2014 and I named it after my daughter. And it was the Bubbleman Trinity pen, and it was designed for rosin. We released it at Harborside in California, Steve D'Angelo's place, and we got the Bubbleman battery there. You can kind of barely see it, but it's there. And this was, I want to say, 8 or 9 years ago. We released the first live hash rosin pen. I did it with Blue River. And so with the Blue River on the back of the box as well, we use their terpenes and my hash rosin, and that was the first hash rosin pen on the market in 2014. We released that.
Let's get Nightbot up there, Charlene. I just realized the time.
Ooh, time to give away a light.
Yeah, time to give away a Master 6 Bloom.
Somebody's upgrading.
Who's going to be taking it down today?
I'm going for a female winner.
That narrows it down by a lot. 'Cause I don't think there's too many females out there. There's some out there. I saw them out here in the show.
So one thing you were mentioning about collecting you were about that one unit, Marcus. You were talking about how it was collecting terps. Now, my friend that had a CO2 oil machine, they had a compartment that literally captured terpenes too. It's kind of cool.
Cold trap.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
He literally would have.
But this machine doesn't have a cold trap. This machine is a cold trap. The terpenes can only turn into a vapor, get to the top of the glass lid, precipitate into a liquid, and then reflux back into your rosin. So you're not collecting. When we did terpenes at Blue River, and that was just, hydrovac diffusion and steam distillation of fresh greenhouse grown flowers. You can make great cannabis derived terpenes, but nobody wants to because it's too expensive. So they're just like, let's buy fruit ones from like the botanical shop.
Or let's grow.
Can you drop if you drop the link? Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say drop the link in your chat for them. I need a moderator to be able to do it, I think. In yours, Marcus.
Yeah, I just have to go find your channel's link.
Hold on a second here. I can.
If in StreamYard, if you click, or not StreamYard, in Zoom, if you click that little top left corner, the little shield, it should give you the link.
I just put it in our.
I've already got it.
Okay.
It's already
I forgot to turn on the Zoom chat.
This whole time, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I pinned it to the top of the chat as well.
It's on. It's just showing the grand. Or is that you sharing your screen, Charlene? Or
yeah, I was gonna get the link, but you guys beat me to it, so I switched back.
Gotcha. Okay.
YouTube chat is popping.
Perfect. We got 283 on one side and
let's do that.
And you got it's Hash Church tomorrow. I saw someone say I didn't realize the date.
Yeah, I have an episode of Hash Church tomorrow morning, but it's one I haven't done in a long time. I've invited all the Legends of Hash winners, and none of them seem to be able to answer a simple email, and I've sent like 3 in the last week and a half. So we'll see how many of these motherfuckers show up tomorrow and how many of them, I never got the email, man. I'm like, well, sorry, dude. This is all about showcasing you. I suspect I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should have sent it from the info at Legends. Maybe I should have got Addison to send him a message saying, add this email to your contact list so it doesn't go into your junk mail. But I suspect at least half of them will be like, we never got the email. I've sent it 3 times. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, I'll give it another.
What time? Did you say what time tomorrow morning?
It's 9 a.m. Hash Church.
Okay.
Why the hell I did that to myself, but
yeah.
yep, every day.
You can still edit the time. I always have intentions of starting at 6 p.m., but I've been lately putting 6:30 just because I know I'm like down to the minute here, trying to get shit done. But,
well, yeah. I wake up early. I certainly wake up earlier than 9 a.m.
Oh yeah. I've been getting up. I'm up early and up late, actually, unfortunately, every day. Okay, well, I say it's already 7:56, so let's roll it.
All right.
Oh wait, it's jumping up. We'll give it a couple more minutes.
Okay.
No, it jumped up to 2:10.
Bit about?
Yeah, we got it.
I hope Grand is in on this one. It's his birthday.
Oh
Yeah, if
His
a female
birthday?
doesn't win, that's who I'm going for too. A happy birthday.
Okay. And yeah, if you've already won it before, you're disqualified. And yeah, this is for US and Canada, by the way, too. So let's do it.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Good luck, everybody.
Me Van 818.
My band
Yeah.
818.
It could be a female. There's a heart.
I'm hoping.
Only females have hearts, apparently.
Hey man, don't. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's just like most people don't have. Most guys don't have a heart in their handle. But not saying that there'd be anything wrong with that.
You kind of did actually, but no, I'm just
We're just uncommon. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, so email Mandy at GML Army or Charlene. Actually, why don't you just put yours in there, Charlene? Be easier. I don't see you. Already forgot the name. What was it? Mimivan?
Me Van, was it?
Yeah, Me Van 818.
It's like a funny way to say minivan.
yeah. It's missing the knee, the mini van,
That's
me van.
missing the nights that say knee.
I haven't seen. Oh, there it is. It's all good.
You see it?
I see
Oh, there you
Yvonne's
go.
typed something in your chat.
Are you
Oh,
said
yep,
it's all
it's all
male
good.
or female?
What was
Not
that?
that it
What does
matters.
that
It doesn't matter. We're just curious. Just curious. Well, Charlene wanted to
Oh,
see a
they say
female
she's
win.
here.
She was being prejudiced against males, so you know.
She's being prejudiced against men. She's rooting on women. I think that's all right. I don't think we should frown on that.
Discriminating against men. Okay. that's
We're
okay.
giving away a lot to men. I think it's a
People.
female. Somebody
People.
referred to her as a she.
Which,
One of them she hers, eh?
which is totally okay, however they want to identify. We don't discriminate here.
So Taro Glass says it's so sad it's only for Canadians. We people love you too. We love the lights. Please take us in the game. I pay for shipping and tax. Just want to get a hold of one of the lights. So I'm not sure where you're from, but it's also available to people in the United States. So if you're outside of both the United States and Canada, I think Gmail said that if you pay for shipping, he'll send it, right?
Yeah, I guess right before that I said that it was for USA and Canada, but yeah, as long as the shipping is paid for. And I saw someone asking about the controllers, and
Yeah.
just want to apologize, guys, about the controllers. They are 100% being air shipped on Thursday. Our manual and everything got finished. I think it was on Friday or whatever, but it's being shipped out Thursday for sure. They will ship out. You don't even have to ask us, because I know we're getting about 10 messages a day. The day they land, like, we will make sure that they all go out the same day. So we're expecting about 7 days for air shipping. So the day they land, they will be out. And thank you, and I apologize that it took so long. Next time, I'm never going to release something until we're not ever going to start sales on anything or ever release anything until it's already in the air, like or on a boat, because it causes chaos for us, and it always ends up taking longer. Like just unforeseen things can happen. Speaking of unforeseen things, like I know we were scheduled to do a big kind of public release on December 23rd, and we kind of saw something happen to us that was kind of unforeseeable, where when we're planning to manufacture something, even if one little part or something comes that's wrong from our supplier, it can screw us over for 3 to 4 weeks. And that's exactly what happened. So instead of December 23rd, we basically pushed it to, I think it's January 20th or something is when we're going to be doing our big release with our new technology and stuff. And unfortunately, I apologize for the release, I apologize that it's taking
Delay.
longer. There's nothing I can do about it.
I'm just glad that we can sneak it in before the Chinese New Year, because that would like pause it for months.
Absolutely. Well, that's what's been very chaotic. We were planning a whole bunch. We're, manufacturing multiple shipping containers right now to go out before the Chinese New Year, and it's just taken a lot of planning and been under the gun this last week here with late nights in China. And yeah, we actually have made a 2x4 light actually, and that is definitely going to be shipping out before the Chinese New Year. I don't know if it might be shipping here just in a couple of days. If not mid-January, it's probably going to be shipping, but we definitely made a tarantula tent ultimate 4x2 also.
Nice.
Oh shit. Yeah, well, Marcus has got me totally hooked on the 6-star, man. I kind of just feel like it reminds me, normally I always have weed and I don't ever ask for anything or need anything, but it's like anytime I see Marcus, it's like, can I have another dab? Can I have another dab? You're muted.
I'll give you a gram the next time I see you.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
long
guess I got to get my D nail going here, man.
You
Or I
do.
got to get something going. I need a Puffco. I need one of those things. I need a setup.
What's our status in Germany, GML? I know you've talked to people in Germany, but that same guy or gal, I don't know, in chat said, please bring your lights to German. We only have a sand light from Austria. Bring the good stuff to us. We hate HLG.
Well, I can understand, and I apologize if you're having warranty issues. I hear that can be a bit of a problem. We've been in contact with a couple of different people, actually. There's a fellow that's a pretty big supplier out there who actually wants to fly out in person to finish our meeting. So that was actually a few weeks ago. And so I'm planning on him. I don't know what date he's coming, but there was a fellow that was flying out there to talk to us about it. But yeah, we're definitely in the new year gonna have our eyes more on Europe, and yeah, we're gonna start looking for basically more international suppliers. It's just been kind of chaotic with everything we're doing here. We've been working really hard, just building a foundation and getting everything set up. Well, we want to get operational in the United States as soon as possible. It's kind of our number one goal right now. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much anything else, guys. We got our Heston. Is there anything else? You've been so loud this whole time, cutting everybody off. No, I'm just kidding. Is there anything else that you want to touch on or talk about?
No, no, man, I'm all messed up. I've been cleaning seeds all day. That dust. I had a mask and eye protection on, but it didn't still get it all, and I just man, starting to stuff up and get itchy. I take another shower, do some eye drops.
Oh man, nothing like overdose of dust.
Yeah, yeah, it's rough.
Hey,
She can't hear you because I've got AirPods on, but this is my wife, Charlene.
I
Spelled
love
the same
it.
as- yeah, spelled
Hi.
the same way as you, Charlene.
Dude, I love seeing everybody's spouses and stuff. It's freaking fantastic. That's great. I love this. She's got such a cool name too.
That'll come up the speaker now.
so yeah, I don't have too much left. Is there anything else anybody wants to touch on? There's Hash Church tomorrow.
Yep, Hash Church. There was a lot of talk about that in the chat. So that I'm gonna put that in my link on Instagram too, or in my bio. I'll put that link straight directly to there, so that way you guys can just hit that and see him in the morning on that.
Cheers. Yeah, that's in like 13 hours.
Sweet.
T-minus.
Well,
T-minus 13 hours.
that pretty much wraps it up for me. So I guess we can throw it into shout outs. I'll toss it over to Heston first.
Yeah, shout out GML. Thanks for having us. Thanks for putting this on. Shout out to Benadryl. Do wonderful work. It's taking effect, so I'll let it go to the next person.
Spartan.
First and foremost, I want to shout out chat, man. It warms my heart it seems every show it gets more and more and more and more, and we continue to grow, even though we're being suppressed by the social media and being suppressed by YouTube. And it's still nice to be growing, and despite of that means people are sharing it. So appreciate everybody for doing that. Appreciate everybody on the panel, man. I love catching up with you guys every weekend. It's cool hanging out with you. And Bubble Man, I love just picking your brain and listening listening to your stories. I can sit there and listen to you every day. So I'm your fanboy. Shout out GML, man. You make this whole thing happen, and you've been doing it consistently for years, man. And it's cool to be on this ride with you. Thank you for the opportunity. Much love, everybody. Keep growing.
Well, thank you very much. That was very well said. I'm going to toss it over to Marcus.
Dude, I want to give a huge shout out to Santa Claus, who's going to be here in about like 9 days. My son is stoked. So I got to start with that, but obviously a shout out to my beautiful wife who made a short appearance here for a little bit, and everyone that's on the panel. I hope you guys have a great holidays, and everyone in chat. We'll see you tomorrow during Ash Church. Let's hope they show up.
Charlene.
Hi. So I'm gonna shout out GML for having the show. Always having everybody on here, giving away a light. Always have all this good information. Shout out to the panel, and shout out to Marcus's wife Charlene. That was so cool. Shout out to Emily. I want to shout out the chat. Chat was amazing tonight. I have some friends that showed up tonight that are in the chat, so shout out you guys. That was cool. Happy birthday again to Grand. And I want to shout out to Red Setter Farms. I believe he has a puppy or a dog that passed away after multiple years. So I'm going to shout out him and his wife. Sending good vibes to you guys. I know that's hard, so... yeah, and shout out Eric at home for making me laugh in the chat. And yeah, it was a great night tonight. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it was really nice just to see everybody in chat. I really like doing the show. I can't wait for the time where I can have half an hour to prepare, just to be able to write some sort of notes or something to go off. Not saying that we don't have a blast, just doing everything completely freestyle. And just everybody, just for the overwhelming support. It's just been kind of a dream come true. We fought really hard to get here, and just seeing what's kind of happening for us, it's been pretty incredible. And I just appreciate all the support, and we're not going to let you down. We're innovating harder than ever. Just after seeing my crop and the possibilities with different spectrums has just basically changed the whole direction of Grandmaster LEDs, to be quite honest. And so we're working around the clock to really make it change, and I'm really looking forward to being able to introduce all the hard work that we've done in mid-January next year. And I'm thankful for everybody on the panel, everybody that's here from Spartan, Flora Farm, Charlene, Marcus. Just very thankful, and everybody that comes and supports us every week. And to his cat, it looks like a
That's a sweetie pie. The main
Sweetie pie,
Ooh,
man.
that looks like a
Murderous.
sweet pie.
The murderous soul.
So yeah, I'll see everybody at Hash Church tomorrow. I'm up really early, so I'll easily be up by then. So we'll see everybody in the chat, and I'm excited to do the show next week. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to everybody soon.
Bye.
Peace, everybody.